Hello everyone, Justin here, and today we're going to be drawing this building, a very simple, basic building that actually happens to be a church. This is the Newman Center, a church run by the Paulist fathers for over 66 years. Anyway, let's go ahead and just start by drawing some of these basic shapes, and I'm not going to try to make this super realistic. In fact, I'm going to try to be a little bit free with this. So we've got a bunch of bushes here, just kind of do some scribbling, trying to keep my basic shapes intact. Maybe try to separate some of these, but I'm not going to focus on that so much. Alright, so this part right here is actually stained glass windows, but we're not gonna get into the details of that too much here either, not that we can see the details anyway. So there's, let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 of these support structures right here. Let's just go ahead and add those. So I'm trying to make this somewhat loose and still fairly descriptive and representative of what we're trying to draw. I'm using a pretty fine point micron pen here, and what I'll be doing is adding some color to this with markers. So I'm actually using marker paper today, which I rarely do. I'm not that much of a marker person, but trying to learn. So we've got these rectangles up here, and we've got another rectangle that goes out this way. So I'll go ahead and add that. Alright, I'm kind of standing back. I made this a little bit too square, but that's okay. Alright, so our next roof line will be coming down here, a little bit down from this roof. And we've got a tree here on the left side, so we'll try not to forget that. So you can kind of see the size of this building simply by the size of the door, the entrance doors. And we're about to get to that. So there's this is the entrance, by the way, and it's gonna kind of go in a little bit, and the doors are right here, so we'll just kind of roughly indicate that, and they're right here, so outline that real quick. And there's a separation between the brick and some, looks like stucco or something here, and a bush here, so let's just add that. So I'll just keep doing this, adding detail, and now we've got our tree here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start adding its general shape, and I'm using a scribbly line, get the general shape of it. As before, I'm not trying to go for super detail. It's kind of a rough architectural sketch, and maybe add some detail on the inside section. And just behind the tree then is a darker area. I believe this is made of glass. This is where the offices are. And when you're drawing something like this, of course you do not need to make it, as I mentioned, exactly like the reference photo. What you're trying to show is just a representation of the building or the house. and definitely go ahead and use some liberty as far as that goes. So over here then we've got a sign, and I'm not gonna get into too much detail here either, but basically there's a bird, a dove, and we've got some printing right here as well. Alright, that's pretty much the building. We do have, we have one more part of the roof here, and there was actually a renovation of this building that added a second floor about a decade ago or so. So we'll add that. And then finally, here's our semi-steeple, and we've got a cross that goes up this way. So I'll just double that up a little bit with a couple lines. We've got this going straight up, maybe a little bit farther, and we've got a circular part, and then the crossbar to show that it's a cross. So next, I'll just add some darker tones now with my thicker marker here, just to separate some of these lines, and I'll try to focus on some of the shadow areas, like the right side of these supporting pillars. I think I'll just add some extra lines here and maybe delineate this part of the structure a little bit better. And because this right here is dark glass, I'll just go ahead and outline this a little bit more. And I'm trying not to go over all the lines, otherwise I might as well have just used this marker from this particular pen from the beginning. So I'm just adding some here and there just to vary the line a little bit. And we'll use the markers, the colored markers, to make things pop a little bit more. And maybe the doors, I'll darken those lines just a little bit. Oops, I kind of went over some of the lines here with my palm, made a bit of a mess. So always be conscious of that if you're using pens or markers that don't dry all that quickly. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and add some color, starting with maybe I'll add a little bit of color up to the sky first. And I'll just I'm not going to color the whole sky, of course. I'm just trying to block off the building and kind of frame it a bit and leave the marker lines pretty self-evident. So these are the brick areas, and I'm just gonna go ahead and color those in quickly. And I'm going to add just something that's just a little bit lighter to this section here. You can barely tell what's going on there. So this area here is more of like a stone color, i.e. Concrete type material. So I'm using just a light gray for now, and just kind of spread it around a little bit here. I'll add more color vary things a little bit here as I go along. Maybe add some darker tones now right underneath here. This roof part right here is a metal roof, and it's just a slightly different color, so I'm using a different gray here. So this right here is glass, and right here, so I'm just gonna add some different shades of gray and blue, just to sort of indicate that this is glass as opposed to the brick areas. Alright, I'm gonna start working on some of the foliage here. I'm gonna color in the tree roughly and blend in some darker greens. And these bushes here, I'm just going to go ahead and color these in with this particular green. Add a little bit of a lighter green here. Try to blend that in, blend that a little bit. And I'm just going to add some stray marks here. And going back to this tree, I'm going to blend in the darker green to the lighter one that I already put it down, just so I can add some of the shading to the bottom of this tree. So at this point I'll just add a little bit of color to the trunk of the tree. Alright, so there's some empty space right here, so I'm just gonna add another color just so I can set off the building from the empty white space here of the page. And I'll do the same on this side. And maybe just add some horizontal short lines here, just to maybe indicate that this is brick. Maybe more on this side here because it's somewhat darker. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and just make this bottom part dark, just because that part is more of like a stucco type color. And we also have the door area, which is actually kind of a pretty dark section, so I'm just gonna take a dark gray and blacken that in. And same with this glass here behind the tree. And perhaps add some of the window framing here. And these areas here are also dark in between the white frame of the doors. just a little bit more variation in the shadows here, the colors of the glass, just to break it up a bit. And we're pretty much done. So I'm just gonna do some touch up, work on some of the details, and we should be done with this sketch. So the markers I used today are actually Blick markers. They're Blick Studio markers, which I had bought recently and never really actually got to try yet. So honestly, this is my first time to really use markers. So I'm really not very experienced with this. So trying to learn. As I've mentioned before, as you do something more and more, the more often you do it, the better you'll get, and hopefully that'll be the case with me with learning to use these markers. So I'm gonna do a lot more markers hopefully here in the near future, and hopefully my abilities improve. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you found this useful and interesting as I muddle my way through this. And I'll see you next time. Have a great day.